A name to know, highlighting celebrities, top CEOs, business owners, and nonprofit organizations. Because you are a name to know. Welcome to A Name to Know. I'm your host, Alicia Figueres. I have the pleasure of interviewing today Mr. Ralf Friedrichs, who has an awesome journey that he's going to share. Ralf, welcome to A Name to Know.
It's a pleasure being here.
So glad to have you here. I've been following your journey, and I just want the world to know. So take us back to when this all started.
Well, I'll go back into, matter of fact, you and I were just discussing in reference to the Marine Corps. Back in 1981, when I first joined the Marine Corps, in boot camp they asked me to become a lay leader. And what a lay leader is it's a mediator between a recruit and a chaplain. And it was back then that I personally believed that my future was already being set for me, although I didn't see it, and that would be to help other people. I'm going to fast forward from 1981 to 2013.
Okay.
When I finally hit a thing called rock bottom. In the military, as a lot of people that have been there realize there's a lot of drinking going on.
Yep.
For me, it was never drugs, it was always alcohol. And for all those years, I decided to avoid what was going to happen to me anyway in 2000, and that would be to finally hit rock bottom. In 2013, I finally hit rock bottom, and I decided the only way to help myself, and this is after attending AA, which I found not to help me personally, I needed to be more actively involved, and that would be to live sobriety from morning until night. And what better way is to help other people, because I do believe that we need to reach out to each other, not as family, but as humans.
Right.
And I decided to design two websites at that time. One was Clear Views, and it still is clearviews.info, and the other one Clear Reform. And I just want to tell the audience what CLEAR stands for when I designed this. It stands for Community Lessons Empower Addiction Recovery. It is your stories, my stories, whoever's stories that empower us to recover. From there, I took it to the next level and decided to do my own YouTube show. I have my own channel called Take Your Life Back Today Show. And what I do on there every single day, as you probably know, because you get a copy of it, I do anywhere from 30 to 35-minute video. Topics, anything ranging from role model to doing drugs to doing alcohol, or just motivational, because every day on Facebook I put those quotes out there to give people a reason to look for hope. And there is hope out there, but you need to find that. And my best way of hope is to reach to your higher power, whatever it might be. And that's where it all started. So I fast forwarded from 1981 to 2013, and here we are in 2015. I'm on 17 websites for treatment centers that utilize my videos for education for their tenants or whatever clients, what you might want to call them. And nationally, I've gone somewhere. I've been approached by 2 television shows. I don't want to mention the name, but they're the type that kind of they do a lot of bashing to each other. In other words, people get on there, talk about what the mothers did to the fathers and this and that, and I turned both down. This is the actually first one I decided to utilize, because I feel that this is sending my message out for real. I'm not there to just get ratings, to be a commentator or anything. So here's where I am today. This is what I do. I try to help people that are suffering from things that a cop suffers from, a lawyer suffers from, a judge, and that's called drug addiction and or alcohol addiction.
Well, I thank you for being with us today.
Thanks.
So you brought your life to sobriety on your own.
I did.
That's amazing.
I attended 4 AA classes, and I started thinking to myself, wow, I get an hour and a half of sitting in the classroom atmosphere, hearing everybody saying, well, we relapsed last week, so it's okay, we're here today, we start all over, and it's not. I said you have to breathe, you have to live sobriety, and the only way to live with sobriety is through educating yourself constantly. I'm a board certified optician. I need to do 18 credits per year to continue educate myself. Well, sobriety is a profession in itself.
That's right.
You need to continuously educate yourself, and what better way than to do the websites, to do the Facebook, to use social media, and to do my own show. Because when I do these shows, I have to prepare, just like you have to prepare for this show. I have to study everything. And when I study, I absorb. And that's how I ended up here.
How many people have you had an impact on?
So far, personally, anywhere maybe 25 to 30. The biggest problem, the biggest obstacle I'm running into is everybody's motivated in the beginning because they're hitting rock bottom, they're touching, they're clawing rock bottom. But then the minute they go out again on their own without that supervision, they fall back into it. Is it bad? No, because I've been there. When you hit rock bottom, you'll know when you hit rock bottom because it means exactly what it means. You're on there, it's a gravel bottom, there's nowhere but up. That's
right.
really the bottom line.
You know, Ralph, I work with a population that is drug addicted, and when they re-enter into society, they're scared. And one of my clients, if I could use that as a better word, was so excited to start his life over again. And when he came home a day before Christmas Eve, went to an NA meeting and OD'd on heroin. His mother found him dead in bed on Christmas Eve. I still haven't been able to shake that because he was an outstanding student in my group, and I listen to their stories, I listen to their pain, and they all want to do so well. It's a monster addiction.
It is, and it overtakes you. There are two things you have to do, I personally feel, to live with sobriety or to live in recovery. You have to stop denying you have a problem. You weren't born to decide whether you want to do drugs and alcohol. You're born because you have a disease. It could have been passed on from family. It could be a lot of things. It could be peer pressure, it could be a lot of but the thing is you have to stop denying you have a problem. Once you do that, you lift the barrier of now I can seek help, but you also have to seek a higher power because everybody in life needs hope. You really need something to hope for. I hope when I leave here that I have a good drive home. We all need hope in life, and what better way than to reach out. I'm not saying you have to become a Billy Graham. What I am saying is that God created all of us. Hope that he will guide and direct you. Carrie Underwood said it best, Jesus take the wheel. Remember the song?
Yes.
Well, let Jesus take the wheel of your life. Let him guide you and direct you. You might not see results right away, but they're coming.
That's right.
Yeah.
Always put in first, you never come in second, right?
That's right, absolutely.
So Ralph, talk to me about rock bottom.
It's a lonely place. It's a place where you see, in my case, my wife, my children. I thought I had everybody convinced that they wouldn't know I was drinking, but everybody knew. So rock bottom is when they are threatening to leave you, when they're walking out on you, when family's talking about you and you know it, and you say, well, listen, it's either death, because one of the things will happen. You either kill yourself, you be in an accident, or Mother Nature will take your organs. One of those three happen, or go to number 4, and that's make a decision. Rock bottom is you start crawling your way out, and it's not an easy thing. It is so hard. My first 2 weeks, I still had to see my patients as an optician. I couldn't take a leave of absence and continue life this way. What really is good about coming out of rock bottom is you can become so transparent. And I know that many people follow me when it comes to this, and they're probably saying, well, he's saying more than I would even say. But why not for me to tell you? Because that shows you I'm a human. I am capable of making mistakes. You are capable of making. So the rock bottom is a lonely place, but when you start climbing out and you start seeing your color, your skin changing, you're not tired anymore. Financial changes because you're not spending all that money on you're thinking better, and your relationships, if you still have a relationship, because if you let it get to a point, which could have happened to me, that's rock bottom.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a tough road, but you know what? My thing here is I get 2 people every day to help, and you know when I do my videos, if you watch them religiously, I always say there are 2 people. Selfishly, I care more about me getting help for myself, and it's a selfish thing to say, but that's what it is. But just one other person. If I can get one other person to say, listen, if he can talk like this, maybe I can. It's a successful video. To me, it is at least. So.
You're a one-man show.
Thank you. Well, I get very comfortable. If you would have seen some of my videos in the beginning, my wife called it, what'd she call it, a train wreck. Because I looked and I was like chapping my gums and all that. But when you do it every single day, I'm up to 442 episodes now. And people actually want to see these. I'm presently helping a couple. Excuse me, not a couple, it's a sister and a brother. She's in California, he's here on Long Island, and I'm trying my best to mediate between her and him getting him to go over there because he's got a major drug and alcohol problem, and he's this close of leaving the earth. And these videos, she watches them in California, and she says, you don't understand how you help me constantly every day understand what he's going through. And that is, for me, fulfilling.
You've done your job.
Absolutely. And if I can continuously do that, that's great.
Your vice of choice was alcohol?
It was vodka, because everybody says you don't smell vodka.
That's right.
Yeah, but the effects are there for people to see, and it's the people closest to you that know it best. It is the people that you are around that you think you have beat with your deception. They know it the best. But you're so clouded in your mind that it doesn't matter. And when we meet other people in life that are going through this, this becomes a reality set in, because there are millions of stories out there. People think that cops don't do it, that politicians don't. It is amongst us wherever you go. Even reverends and stuff have this problem. God helps us, but the devil doesn't exclude your profession. If he wants to take you, he will try whatever he will try.
Were you a functioning alcoholic?
I was. Yeah, I was doing all my opticianry work. I was so good that I would look for 5 o'clock every day, and my first thing in my mind was getting my vodka. I would find reasons to leave home, pretending like I was going to go shopping just to get my fix.
So you didn't drink while working?
Absolutely not.
During the day?
No, because as an optician, you're around machines, and not only that, but I also did exams for DMV, pre-screening. So this is exactly, that's a good question. This is exactly what I mean. It doesn't matter what your profession is. If you know how to control it yourself, you can function with it. But the bottom line is it's not you. That you're engulfed by this terrible disease.
But Ralph, as an optician, you're up close and personal doing exams, right?
Exactly, yeah. Again, I would be fully functional in the morning, throughout the day, but like Flintstones, that 5 o'clock Dino bell, you know how they, that was my cue, off to the liquor shop. And you know what, it started becoming worse and worse and gradually, and then I did quit for maybe a month or two, because other people got mad at me. So, you know, it's one of those things to appease people, shut them up, so you quit. This, when it happened in 2013, when I hit rock bottom, I knew there is no way, and I'd be a hypocrite today to even take 1 ounce of liquor, because what is that saying to my audience? What is that saying to them? I'm telling you not to do it to save your life, but I'm going to do it. It'll never happen again. I won't even check NyQuil. I won't. Because anything that's alcohol-based could trigger me off, and I won't do it. And I do believe that you have to do 24 hours at a time. It is very important that you do day at a time. And don't ever talk about the past to your, when I coach people, I don't want to know about their past. You know why? Because it's not good for them. Because their past, it might be so bad that when we talk about it, they might go home and say, oh, God.
Trigger.
Exactly, a stressor or a trigger. I want to concentrate on today and what can we do about today and tomorrow. And most people have their answers inside them. It is my job as an addiction recovery coach to lift those answers out and make them realize, hey, you knew what you had to do. It's just me to motivate you, nudge you a little bit.
Do your past experiences trigger you?
My past experience from what, like from drinking?
Being able to discuss it.
No, they don't. No, if anything, it motivates me not to do it even more. This is why I do what I do with my show, because it keeps me going. If I had to stop for a week or so, I don't know, I'm not saying I would drink, but I don't know, I don't even want to know. This is my recovery, because I live and breathe sobriety through doing the websites, through helping people, through my Take Your Life Back Today show. This is how I do it. It's a whole new form. I have 16 steps to AA's 12 steps. I really do. It's written in one of my episodes that I came up with. And they're common sense steps. I don't want to talk about your past. I don't want to do this. I want to talk about what are we going to do to better you for today and tomorrow, because the past is gone. Thank God that you're here today. You're breathing, because right now there are people not breathing anymore.
That's right.
So
that's right.
You know, it is my dedication to help people, and that's why I'm going to go with that.
Ralph, were you doing this alone, or did you have a group of people that you would drink with?
I would do it mostly alone, because I wanted to hide the fact. At home, for maybe 4 or 5 years, towards the end, my wife, although she knew, but she pretended like she thought she believed me, When I told her, I don't drink, what are you talking about? No, it must be that 5-hour rush, you know, those little rush
Energy
things?
drink?
Yeah, or it must be the medication. I always had to lie. I really did. That's how bad it was, because it overtakes your life. And you really feel like a fish out of water if you don't get it. But I'm telling you right now, fish can swim without water. If you, they really can.
For a minute.
Yeah, well, for a minute. Not in a realistic world, I'm saying, but I'm a fish. I don't need that water anymore. What I need is to educate myself to know what the alternatives are. If you're a criminal and you know by committing a crime you're going to go to jail, well, it's the same with alcohol. If you keep drinking, you're going to kill yourself. That's the terminology.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Tell me your worst day. What was your worst day?
I was down in Virginia. Matter of fact, my wife got a call from my brother-in-law, and he had called me my wife had called me to ask me a question. She was still up here because we were in the process of moving down there, and I didn't pick up the phone for obvious reasons. So my brother-in-law rushed over to the house and found me unconscious in bed. The paramedics came. I was about 5 minutes away from death, and this was in 2007. And it was because the night before, down in Virginia, they have a thing called the Red Rose wine, and I decided to cut the grass with 2 acres with a handheld lawnmower and drink 2 bottles of that. So I dehydrated.
In the hot sun?
In the hot sun, went to bed right afterwards and never woke up. They had to inject me, and but that didn't even stop me. That's the scary thing. That's how terrible this disease is. Back then, I said to myself, I'll never touch it again. And sure enough, I fell into it because I started going back to Alaska every month to work on the Eskimo veterans, on their eyes. And in 2009, I was in a bad accident up there. I had a lot of surgeries. And that's when I started realizing my life is worth so much more. And I gradually cut down on the drinking. And then in 2013, it finally, that was it. I was done. I look at my grandkids. I don't want them to ever see me drink, ever. I don't even want to see them smoke. I talk about being a role model. What you showed your kids, you're saying it's okay to do that because they look at you as their hero, their role model.
That's right.
So if I'm going to drink and I'm going to smoke and I'm going to use profanity or physically abuse a person, I'm saying to the kids, look, I'm your hero. It's okay to do that. It's not. If you're going to have to drink and smoke and do all that, do it away from your children, your grandchildren. And that's how I feel about that now. So.
Ralph, there's an epidemic on Long Island with heroin.
I know my sister's brother-in-law just died 2 months ago from it.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's the same thing as the alcoholism. I don't know even how to explain how to take care of it other than people like you, people like me that are just constantly going to bring it out to the public and keep talking, because there's not much you really can do about it. You know, it's not like we can quarantine people that have drug and alcohol issue and put a big fence around it. It is the individual that makes the choice. It is the individual. It is my job, your job, whoever's job, to bring the message to wherever they might be. During my show, I always say, wherever you are, in your kitchen, your living room, homeless shelter, wherever you're looking right now, I'm here to tell you there's hope. And we can only do what we can do. And you're right, it's a terrible thing. And it's not just here on Long Island. It's a global, it's a bad issue. But it hits us home because we live here. You know, we hear it a lot. So.
You know, Ralph, addiction is addiction. You know, your vice was vodka. Mine is chocolate, food. I love to eat. And you say that all we can do is continue to give out the message, but I think it is deeper. You know, every individual is different, and they're suffering internally. They have voids they're trying to fill. So that's what we have to address, I think.
Well, the question is how do we address that? You know, first of all, how do we address the people getting them all together, or just send a message out to them? Maybe come up with a safe haven type of buildings where, listen, if you have a problem, come here and we'll try. You know, the list can be endless to try to come up with a game plan. I mean, I'm not sure New York State's budget on fighting drugs. I mean, I used to follow politics a lot more until I went on Facebook and people started bashing me, so I don't do that as much anymore. But, you know, there are a lot of things that could be done, but how to approach it, it's a good question. Unfortunately, I don't have the exact answer for it. I think like food lines, how do we help people that need food? We have food lines. Come up with a concept of maybe having a safe haven for people, you know, that have drug addiction. Or, you know, if you admit you have a drug addiction, you come in for a treatment, we'll give you maybe a gift certificate for a Pathmark for food, for real food or something. You know, so an incentive, because motivation helps people.
Right.
It really does, you know. So I don't have the exact answer for that. I wish I did.
What kind of message would you like to share with our younger population that are really trying to find themselves, that have a lack of esteem, who are looking just to be accepted, who turn to vices such as marijuana, heroin, alcohol?
Well, the biggest issue that I feel that the younger generation is facing is peer pressure. So let's say you and I are in the same class and you're telling me to smoke or drink. I need to do one of two things. The first thing is either I'm going to do what you want me to do and I'll be a sheep and follow you, or I change my social gathering. And it sounds harder than it really is, but it's really not. All you need to do is find a different crowd. Find a crowd that's more like you. Most of the young people are seeing it at home. I don't know if people realize it, because mommy and daddy are doing a lot of this drug and alcohol. It's a combination of school and a combination at home. That's where they get. There is no in between, because what they see at home and what the peer pressure at school. And you need to find a whole different social gathering.
So I think technology plays a part as well.
Oh, absolutely. Web. I mean, yeah. Is that what you're talking about? The websites and
In
or
addition.
yeah, it does. Personally, I would just say is to surround yourself in a different gathering. Find hobbies. Find passions. I always try to tell people, find a passion in life. We all have a passion of some sort. We just need to know. I remember when I started this show with you just now, I told you what happened in 1981.
Right.
My passion back in 1981, God already knew I was going to help people. And what I forgot to tell you, actually, is in 2011, my wife and I came up with a foundation called Mastic Beach Outreach 2011. And that is a website to help people that are either older, elders, poor, or handicapped. And my wife and I would actually donate money to these people, bring them food. My wife would cook food. So it continued from 81 to 2011, but mind you, in 2011, I was already still drinking, so it didn't kick off as well as I thought. But my recommendation to the younger people is stay away from the peer pressure. Just because somebody's telling you to do it, don't do it. Continue to educate yourself. Find a passion in life that might be different than utilizing drugs and alcohol.
Okay.
And that's pretty much. I mean, you're absolutely right. Technology is, you know, Camel cigarettes. Remember the lawsuit and the Budweiser commercials. And is the Super Bowl really the Super Bowl? Or is it the intermediate? You know, what is it? The halftime about the commercials? Because that's where. It's real. It's not like when I grew up. I'm 50, going to be 54 this year. When I grew up, just having 10 cents in my pocket meant a lot. Now today, everything is terrible, and technology plays a big role on it.
It does,
But
unfortunately.
you know, you can't put a dome around your children either.
Right.
So that I mean, you'd like to, but you can't.
Outside of your videos that you produce, do you do any other services to spread the word?
Yeah. Every Sunday from spring until summer, I actually walk the streets of my old home turf. For the last 3 years, I've been walking Mastic Beach. And what I do is I interview people with a microphone, camera. I ask them if they want to go on camera. If they don't, I put on audio. And these are real people with real stories. And why do I pick Mastic Beach, other than the fact that we live there? Is because it has become really bad there when it comes to drugs and alcohol. Mastic Beach is one of the worst places probably in Suffolk County when it comes to drugs and alcohol. They recently became a village 2 years ago. It's getting a little better. So what I do is I go out there and I talk to my handout flyers, I hand out my cards. I've actually talked to people via the internet, via the phone, my regular show, my websites.
And when you interview them, what do you ask?
Exactly, questions like, usually before I ask the questions, I pre-qualify them. I find out that they're either drinking or drugging, whatever they're doing. And I tell them that everything's confidential, other than that they're going to be on camera. You know?
So much for that, right?
Yeah. But I warn them because, you know, you're not supposed to put people on camera unless they authorize it. And we talk about, how did you get to this point? What is it that you use your money for every day? Because you can tell they're doing drugs and alcohol. Where do you want to go from here? Can I help you? I mean, my website, clearviews.info, has page 7, has 50 states that you can click on, and literally on each state there are rehab centers that you click on. So if you tell me, oh, well, what is New York or North Carolina? Go to my website, you'll see it. I've literally called up different states their social services and help people get into rehab
Excellent.
centers that don't even have money and they don't have insurance. And there are programs out there, but you need to do the legwork and do the research. But people are so clouded because of drugs and alcohol, they don't want to. They're more worried about running, like I used to, go to the liquor shop. You know, it's so much easier. That's where denial comes in. You gotta, if you really want to stay alive, if you want to live for today, stop what you're doing, take a seat back, and keep walking. And let somebody like myself, like other people, be that crutch to lean on. I have people calling me at 2, 3 in the morning saying, Ralph, I'm ready to drink. What do you think I should do? And you know, my wife's like, Ralph, you're amazing. You'll sit there at 3 in the morning and talk for an hour on the phone.
That's awesome.
I will try to help these people because I'll go back to sleep knowing that maybe I saved somebody. I don't know, but maybe. So the interviews are, what are they doing? Why are they doing it? Is it maybe the geographical area? Because, you know, when you see a lot of people walking around like zombies, all drunk, maybe you're going to want to join them. But that's how bad it's become. It really has. I now live in Hampton Bays, and I don't ever want to walk the streets doing that in there because they probably think I'm crazy or something because it's a whole different area. So, but I grew up in Northport, and I wouldn't have done it there. But Mastic Beach it's a good ground to stomp. You know, and I'm friends with the mayor there, so, you know, I've spoken at a couple meetings there already, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to use you as a resource for my population that I work with.
Okay.
I think they would really appreciate your services.
That's great. That's great. I would, and if you ever want me to come down and give a little pep talk, you know, I'm not the best.
That'd be great.
I'm not the best speaker. I'm getting better at it.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah, but if there's somebody German, I can translate. But so that the bottom line is that there are people to help, but you need to reach out. Because I always say to people, I can't jump through the camera and into your living room to help you.
That's
you
right.
need to, you know, I give out my helpline phone number constantly. I say, just call me, and people utilize that. Unfortunately, I also get patients call me for eyeglasses done, and I'm like, yeah, how can I help? I need new progressives or something, you know? But they need to come to me. And it's not an ego thing, but I don't know where you are. So I can't come to you, but you know where I am, so.
You have a closing message?
Well, I always say this at the close of my show is, believe it or not, a sober today, I guarantee will give you a better tomorrow, and that really is the bottom line. And a lot of people always think that when I say change your life, that it's something that's like an on and off switch with light switch, like that. But only big changes happen in very small steps. I'm still going through changes, and I've been sober for 2 years. I'm going through changes each and every day. There is no easy fix to this. What it's called is living the life of sobriety and educating yourself. Like anything in life, you have to educate yourself. And please, mothers, fathers, grandparents, teach your kids to say no to drugs and alcohol while they're young. I call it the chapters in the book of life. From 0 to 18, you as the parent, you as the grandparent, write the chapters in your children's life.
That's right.
And if you start changing, editing those chapters when they go out at 18, I don't even want to read the book anymore. Don't even put it out there on Wall Street, whatever, where they sell those books. So my message is say no to drugs and alcohol. And that's it.
Ralf Friedrichs, thank you so much for being with me
Oh,
today.
it was such a pleasure being
You're
here.
such an inspiration.
Thanks.
And I wish you the best.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
Oh, anytime.
Take care.
Ralf Friedrichs, another name to know.